Greetings to our respected subscribers and guests of the channel. The most despised caste in the prison camp is the opuszczenie, literally lowered, meaning inmates forcibly placed at the very bottom of the prison hierarchy, and the obiżenie, literally offended, meaning rejected or degraded prisoners. This caste includes passive homosexuals, people convicted of sexual crimes, and victims of sexual violence inside the camp itself. The opuszczenie are called roosters, daisies, and waflery, literally waffles, slang for sexually degraded inmates. They're assigned a separate area known as the rooster corner, a segregated zone for untouchables. In barracks, roosters sleep near the doors, in cells near the toilet or under the bunks. Sometimes they're forced to build makeshift screens to fully isolate themselves from the rest of the camp. In prison cafeterias, there are so-called rooster tables and benches used exclusively by the opuszczenie, the lowest caste. If an ordinary inmate sits at a rooster table, he becomes zakontaczony, literally contaminated by contact, meaning socially tainted, and loses his former status and respect. Upon arrival at a juvenile colony or a pre-trial detention center, an experienced criminal first finds out where the obiżenie are housed so as not to sit in a puddle, a Russian idiom meaning to embarrass or disgrace oneself by mistake. A rooster is usually marked, dressed sloppily and dirty. He's forbidden from washing in the bathhouse or toilets together with everyone else. In the cafeteria, he uses special utensils. Holes are drilled into bowls, mugs, and spoons. To prevent soup or tea from spilling out, the rooster plugs the hole with his finger. Criminals often say not he was lowered, but he was gifted a plate with a hole. The opuszczenie or obiżenie are assigned the most disgusting jobs, cleaning toilets, servicing garbage pits. If a rooster refuses, he may be kicked, striking with hands is forbidden, have his face shoved into the parasha, the toilet bucket, or even be killed. Many opuszczenie cannot endure the abuse and end their lives with suicide. Speaking to a rooster is considered shameful, meaning absolutely unacceptable, and any interaction with him is permitted only through sexual acts. When moving to the industrial zone, the poor man must walk at the tail of the column. He's forbidden from approaching a normal inmate closer than 3 steps, let alone starting a conversation. A rooster must yield the way, pressing himself tightly against the wall. Any mistake can result in a beating. There are many reasons for being lowered. A person can be turned into prison trash already in a pre-trial detention center, sometimes just for speaking rudely to an authority figure or trying to assert his rights. This usually happens to newcomers accustomed to giving orders in the outside world.
There were cases when a plate with a hole was given for appearance alone, for being good-looking, effeminate, or excessively intellectual. Passive homosexuals and child molesters entered the caste automatically. Cellmates learn a newcomer's sexual orientation and criminal charge already in a pre-trial detention center. A passive homosexual is marked by the prison with a tattoo, often a black eye inked under the eye or another specific symbol. Hiding this mark is nearly impossible, and once labeled a patuk, a person remains one for life. When arriving again at a pre-trial detention center, CISO, or a colony, he must first ask where the rooster's corner is located. If he hides or lies, he may be killed by those he has tainted by contact. There have also been tragic absurdities involving rooster markings. Carefree, law-abiding civilians tattoo themselves however they like, a hand with a blooming rose, a musical instrument, a ring with a heart. By a twist of fate, ending up among inmates, such a person may suddenly hear himself called a waffler, prison slang for a rooster. That's where hell begins, because proving you're not one is nearly impossible. Often, people with such a tattoo are indeed forcibly lowered into that caste. There will always be an active homosexual or an authority figure wanting release who will say, "Nice girl, don't touch her after me." Surviving until release, roosters often remove tattoos by burning them off or changing the design. The waffler ring is fully shaded in, creating a new symbol, from bell to bell, meaning serving the full sentence. After that, one must swear off prison forever. An experienced criminal will immediately notice the dirty cover-up and check the past through camp mail. The obésiennes also include inmates who were rejected but not fully lowered, those contaminated by contact with roosters, gambling debtors, father killers, sexual deviants, or simply weak individuals unable to defend themselves. They are called parashniki, literally toilet people. They rank slightly higher than roosters, but cleaning the toilet is unavoidable for them. A parashnik can be punished at any moment by being issued dishes with holes drilled in them.
The process of lowering someone's status followed a grim but well-established pattern. A person would be forcibly restrained and subjected to severe forms of humiliation intended to permanently destroy his position within the prison hierarchy. If physical force was not possible, deception was used. The result was the same. The inmate was publicly declared lowered, and the information spread throughout the camp within hours. This method was often used against criminals who openly opposed thieves in law. For a long time, the opuszczenia had no rights whatsoever. They ranked below collaborators, traitors, and even informants. Over time, this outcast group adapted. In some camps, they developed their own internal rules and hierarchy. Veteran inmates claimed that general regime and reinforced regime colonies had more lowered inmates, calling them goat camps. According to this belief, the stricter the regime, the fewer outcasts, and the higher the chances of survival for everyone involved. In strict and special regime colonies, the opuszczenia often had an internal leader, known as mother. He assigned places in the designated corner, controlled sanitation duties, and enforced discipline within the outcast group. His role was to maintain order and prevent uncontrolled violence. In such regimes, unprovoked abuse of an obysienie was uncommon. Punishment usually followed only for specific violations, such as neglecting assigned duties or attempting improper contact with higher status inmates. Even then, such incidents were rare. Internal discipline was strictly maintained. In modern colonies, the outcasts are sometimes even allowed limited internal activities among themselves, such as card games within their designated area. At a certain point, survival instincts forced this group to make others reckon with them. When humiliation reached extreme levels, resistance appeared in desperate and unconventional forms. In rare cases, a victim would deliberately provoke physical contact with an aggressive inmate, fully aware of the consequences. The attacker, by reacting violently, would himself lose status through prohibited contact. Respect vanished instantly, and the disgraced inmate could soon join the ranks of the outcasts. The outcast group could also respond collectively to acts of lawlessness. For example, an inmate who lost heavily in gambling could be forced into becoming a torpedo, a disposable enforcer carrying out dangerous orders. Refusal meant death at the hands of his own group. After release, former outcasts, including parashniki, collaborators, and roosters, often posed a serious danger to former prison authorities. Years of humiliation bred resentment and a desire for revenge. Some returned to crime and targeted thieves, their associates, and even anyone loosely connected to them. This was the channel The Prison Code, Russia. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. Good luck.